I talk about it like Cody's all in charge of the whole property. It's because he really has a monopoly on it. His name is on every single piece of property.
Hello everyone, today we are talking about another episode of Sister Wives. We're talking about season 19, episode 12, which is titled Put Your House in Order. We are going to be doing it a little bit different today. I'm going to break this episode into two parts. In this video, I'm only going to be talking about Mary, Cody, and Robin. And in the second part, I'm going to be talking about Janelle and Christine. There's really no reason for me doing this other than I just want to change it up a little bit. And it does feel like they are very divided when you're watching the show, so it's something that's easier to do now than it would have been in previous seasons. The show starts out in Parowan, Utah, right where the last episode left off, and we see Cody and Mary standing in the house. They're still saying goodbye and they're crying. Jen and Nathan are over at the side. They're just standing there kind of awkwardly, looking everywhere but at Cody and Mary. There was a part of me that was like, I would have just said, I'm going to go outside and give you guys some privacy. But there was this other part of me that was like, no way. You cannot leave them alone because who knows what will go down. Cody will say something and then Mary will take it a different way and then they'll start trying to reconcile again. Like, no way. Jen needs to be there in case things go sideways. So I was really glad that Jen stuck around, even though I did feel like I'm sure she wanted to leave the room. When Cody goes to finally leave, he is in the car with Nathan, and Nathan asks him if he is sure. Like, are you sure you want to end things with Mary? Because we've just watched Cody stand inside the house, and he's crying a lot, and he's talking about, the future for Mary. He's talking about Mary getting married and the possibility of him walking her down the aisle, which is just ridiculous. But I think the amount of crying he did confused Nathan and Mary. Like, why is he this emotional? But I can tell you, as a viewer of the show, I'm not confused at all. He is not one bit sad that this is ending. He is sad because his life is changing. He is sad because his life, it's not what it was before, and it's not what he thought it was going to be. But I don't think he's actually sad about Mary. I don't think he's questioning the choice and what's happening. But I think Mary and Nathan were confused. Mary says it over and over again. I don't understand. Why is he so emotional? She starts second guessing this whole thing.
Part of me was like, oh, what have I done? Maybe I did the wrong thing.
Fortunately, later in the episode, she realizes that she didn't make a mistake. But hey, there for a minute, I was worried he was going to call her up and say he wanted her back and she was going to go running. I almost wish TLC would compile all of the confessionals where Cody talks about Mary, and they would put them together and give them to her. Like, Mary, we just need you to watch this. And then she would understand what all of the viewers are thinking. And I'm sure most of us are thinking, he does not regret this. He does not want to be married to you. Quite frankly, he does not even talk about you in a way that is nice. Move on. Don't second guess this. Let him cry. Hand him some tissues before he goes. Later in the episode, we see Mary again, and this time she is in a much better place. She is traveling. She is on a solo trip to England. Mary says this is something that she has wanted to do most of her life, and now she is finally doing it. And when she talks about it, she actually gets a little emotional. I'm going to put a clip in here so you guys can see it.
I literally cannot believe I'm here.
Mary shares that going to Stonehenge was something that she had wanted to do for years. This is something that she really wanted. She would watch shows about it. She had expressed to Cody that she was interested in going there. So this was something he should have known. But when she goes to see him and Robin later on in the episode, and she mentions this trip to England and that she went to Stonehenge, Cody acts like he has no idea that that was something she wanted to do. And Mary talks about how she's realizing that he didn't know this stuff about her. So there's this transition with Mary in this one episode from her standing there saying goodbye to him to her traveling, doing something she's wanted to do, and then the realization that Cody didn't care enough about her to know the things that she was interested in. And the thing about them traveling, and what I'm talking about all of the original wives, the ex-wives now, you know, when they would want to travel or do something, they would have to call Cody and discuss it. And then if it was something expensive, back in the day, they would have a family meeting. Every decision they made took so long to make. I bet just not having to do that feels amazing. I bet it is so nice to not have to consider 4 other adults when you want to do something. So I'm sure Mary going to England and just doing that on her own and planning it the way she wanted to feels amazing. Later in the episode, we see Mary return to America and head over to Cody and Robin's house. She is there to deliver the money that is going to be used to pay off her portion of Coyote Pass. When Mary gets to their house, this is when she tells them about the trip to England, and Mary mentions that she really enjoyed Stonehenge, and of course then Cody doesn't seem to recall that Mary had any interest in it at all. Again, that doesn't surprise me. In order for Cody to remember something like that, he would actually have to care about other people and care enough about them to be interested in what they would like to do in their lives. And I don't think Cody does that. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think he actually does that with Robin either. I don't think Cody really cares that much about what Robin wants as much as he likes Robin because Robin does what he wants. I don't know. I don't know if I think Cody cares about other people that way. You guys can let me know what you think, but I think Cody just worries about himself. Anyway, back to the reason that Mary is actually there. She is there to give them the money because they're paying off Coyote Pass. So she has her portion of that money that is needed. But she also wants to talk to them about how the property is going to be divided up. Cody presents some options, but Mary is actually being pretty smart. She wants an appraisal of the entire property. So that way they will really know what it's worth. Because if you've watched the show, you know this. They're trying to say, like, if you have a property that has trees, it's worth more. So maybe you're going to get an acre less. They're kind of guessing that, though. There hasn't actually been a professional that's came along and said that to them, and no one's given them exact numbers. So Mary thinks they should get an appraisal, and I am so happy that she is saying this. I'm happy that she is thinking for herself and not just going along with what Cody says. Cody does bring up the fact that there is a developer that might want to buy out all of the property. And so Mary says, is this something you want to do? Like, I think Mary would be interested in that, sell it all and get 1/4 of the money. But Robin then says that that's not something that she wants to do. And I'm sort of laughing as I bring this up because I think Robin is still a little bit delusional about the situation. You know, she says, I still want to live out there on Coyote Pass. But not only does she want to live out there, she thinks it's still a possibility that Mary and Janelle want to live out there.
I still want to build on Coyote Pass. I hope that Mary builds a home out there. I know that she probably won't live there full time, but where she's around and she's there, and I really hope that Janelle builds out there too.
I can never tell if Robin is someone that is choosing to turn a blind eye to something or if she really doesn't understand how the situation is. Like, maybe she doesn't realize how bad of a relationship Cody has with his kids, has with the other wives. Maybe he's not telling her enough and they're not talking to her. So she thinks it's something that's going to easily go away. I don't know. I cannot wrap my head around it, but the fact that she thinks they're going to live out there all together, or it's a possibility, is actually kind of funny to me. You guys have to let me know if you thought that whole meeting there was kind of weird. Something about it felt like there was going to be some dishonesty from Cody when he talked about dividing up the land. I think the only way this would turn out fair is if they sold the whole property. If they divide it up on their own, I think Cody is going to make sure that he comes out ahead. So I think they either jump on selling that to the developer and they split the money, or Mary's right. They need an appraisal. I just don't trust him. And I felt like the whole meeting there was a weird tension. Cody acted really odd. But you know what? Cody's like that. Maybe that's just who he is. And I don't trust him, right? So I'm just glad Mary is saying that there needs to be an appraisal. I'm glad that Janelle is getting an attorney. I think they're going to need it. I think we're going to see more of that in the next few episodes. I just don't think Cody is someone that can be trusted. Anyway, neither does Janelle, right? So Janelle had been over to Mary's house and told her, you know, you may want to protect yourself. Mary is sitting there with Cody and Robin, and she tells them that Janelle came over and said that. I, at first, was really annoyed with Mary. I was like, you did not need to share that, right? I like Janelle. I wanted Mary to keep that to herself. But you have to remember their relationships. Mary and Janelle are not that close. Mary doesn't feel any real loyalty to her. I think she felt loyalty to Cody and Robin, but I think when they're filming this, she doesn't feel quite as much. I think Mary is really starting to just stick up for herself. I think Janelle coming and visiting her made her realize that she needed to make sure there was something like an appraisal happening so that she got a fair portion of the money. But I don't think she feels like she's leaning either way. She's not playing on someone else's team at this point. When Mary told Cody and Robin about Janelle coming over, I really expected Cody to have some sort of terrible reaction. I expected him to get worked up. There's just a part of me that thinks he's on blood pressure medication now and he is chilled out, because if you think back to when Christine was leaving, when he would get angry or upset, his face would get so red and he would get so, like, there was just this intense anger. And here he is, not even really giving a reaction at the table when he's sitting there. Now, he reacts during a confessional. I am going to put that clip in here. But again, while he was sitting there with Mary, he really didn't say a whole lot.
She doesn't trust me because she would screw me if she could. That's what I believe. Okay, and I'll be honest, I've thought about screwing her. Okay, so I'm being honest.
So he is talking about Janelle there. That is the wife or ex-wife he's talking about. And I have to tell you, I stopped it there just to comment on that laugh he gave at the end. It made me so mad. I don't know why. There's just something about him grinning and laughing about possibly taking advantage of his ex-wife, the mother of his children. Stop laughing. Just get the grin off your face, Cody. I don't like it. And here is the rest of that clip. He's explaining why he's not going to try to take advantage of her.
But I won't. My wife with a conscience won't let me.
He is laughing when he is talking about trying to take money from a woman who has had 6 of his children. One of them is still living at home. Someone who has given to him and that family financially for years, while he is living in this massive house with another wife. And he finds that funny and he's laughing about it, and it just makes me completely furious. The fact that the only thing that is stopping him is Robin sort of makes me question everything I have thought about Robin in the past. Is she really the only thing stopping Cody from just being the biggest jerk on the planet? Because he's already a contender. He's already up there on the list of people I think might be evil villains. But is Robin what's holding him back from really taking the title? As Mary is sitting there talking about how she wants this appraisal, you can tell Cody really doesn't want to do this. And there is a moment where he seems to try to make an excuse, or I don't know, he acts like it's going to be very difficult to get an appraisal. I'm going to put the clip in so you guys can see it.
I mean, we have to have somebody who's a land appraiser.
No, I'm sure they have those in Flagstaff.
Yeah.
When he responded that way, there was just a look on his face like this whole thing was just going to be too much and he couldn't handle it. I love that Mary reacted the way that she did. During a confessional, Cody says that the reason he is reacting this way is because he doesn't want to spend any more money on this property. He doesn't want to have to talk to attorneys. He really wants this over with. But then when Janelle talks about Cody's resistance, she says it is because the way it is now is working out for him. He is the one that's going to have the upper hand. He's going to get the most money. So, of course, he doesn't want there to be an appraisal because then everyone's going to see how unfair the situation actually is. When he is talking about the appraisal and acting like it's all going to be such a burden to have done, it is so noticeable that even Robin comments on it. She's like, what is the problem? Like, her and Mary cannot figure out what would be the issue with an appraisal, but I think we all know what it is. It's exactly what Janelle said. Cody doesn't want to do it because then Cody is not going to get all the money that he thinks he deserves. When it comes to the division of the property, I have to admit that I don't really understand it. I don't understand why there are so many names listed on so many portions. My original thought was maybe Cody and Robin are listed more because they're married, so they were listed together, but I just don't get it, and I don't think I ever really will. It makes me feel better when I'm watching the show because I realize that they don't understand why their names are on the property the way that they are. Janelle says that she doesn't really understand it, and the part that's really, really fascinating and surprised me is the fact that Robin also says that she doesn't understand it, and she sort of threw Cody under the bus. I don't think she intended to do it, but she did. I'm going to put the clip in here. This is Robin talking about how the property is divided up right now.
Names on the properties were just temporary until we paid it off. And like nobody made that decision except for Cody.
So you heard it there. Robin says no one but Cody was involved in the decision when it came to how the names were on the property.
And we were just told about it later. And I was like, why did you do it that way? And he was just like, I just had to make a decision really quickly. I was just I don't even know.
So if you've ever sat and tried to figure out the property and the names and how it was divided and thought, I cannot figure it out, don't feel bad. It sounds like the wives and Cody also don't really understand it. The only thing I'm going to add, and this is just my opinion, I think Cody Brown is calculating. I think he had a reason for what he did, even if the wives don't know what it is. I don't think Cody was out there just putting names down without any thought to it. That's almost all we see for Mary and Robin. There is a part at the end of the show that is devoted to Cody. He goes on a trip to Vegas with his brothers, Scott and Michael. During this part of the show, we do find out how Cody is styling his hair. He has a curl routine. He does some scrunching. He has some coloring going on. None of this surprises me. We have seen this man's hair during some highs and some lows, right? There were some times Cody's hair was rough, but it seems like he is happy with the curls now. While the brothers and Cody are out there in Vegas, they go back and visit the neighborhood that the cul-de-sac was in. You know, this makes Cody a little bit emotional. He talks about the relationships that he has with Mary and the one that he has with Janelle. And I have to tell you, when he was talking as if it is in the present tense, but that doesn't make sense to me. So I started thinking he was talking about the past, but it still didn't make any sense. I'm going to let you guys hear it. I'm going to split it up into two clips. First, he's going to talk about his relationship with Janelle.
I'm still trying to partner with Janelle, who has rejected our marriage and our partnership.
When? Like, when is he really trying to partner with her? We know that he doesn't talk to Savannah. We just, in this episode, we see he isn't at the graduation party because Savannah and him aren't close. They're not communicating often. Janelle says he's not responding to text about the property. Last season, he didn't talk to Savannah over Christmas. When is he trying to partner with Janelle? Of course she's rejecting him. What does he do out of the blue? Just contact her and be like, hey, want to get back together after not talking to her for months? Of course she's rejecting him. I don't even think he does that. So this just feels like a big lie. But here he is talking about Mary.
And Mary calls me and I answer the phone and I jump. Hey, I got to go see Mary.
maybe now he does that, but I don't believe for a second that Mary is calling him that often now that they have separated and she lives in Parowan. Don't believe it. So is he talking about the past? Because if I remember correctly, Mary has said that he did not stay over at her house and hadn't been there in years. So when is he doing this? I do not believe for a second once she got to Parowan she was calling him to come over anymore. He helped her move. They were married for 33 years. She is leaving, from my understanding, with nothing but the stuff that she paid for herself. Helping her move was really the least he could do. Quite frankly, I wish she didn't have to call him, but she did. He is not jumping and visiting her, and if he had done that even a little bit while they were married, they might have been able to work their relationship out. So I'm like, what is he talking about? He's not talking about now, and it doesn't seem like he was talking about the past. When is he doing this stuff, you guys? It must be real fun to live in a world where you can just make up whatever you want about yourself and other people. And it seems like no one can get him to realize that this isn't what actually happened. Like, he is fully committed to the stuff that he makes up. So that is it for this video. I said I was only going to talk about Mary, Robin, and Cody, or at least I was going to focus on them. There will be a part 2 where I talk about Janelle and Christine. I'm going to have that out tomorrow or on Thursday. But that is it. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments. What do you think is going to happen with this property? Yeah, let me know down below. And if you like this video, I hope you'll click like and subscribe and come back here to Happily Ever Reality.